What's up YouTube? It's been a little while here since I filmed a video, but today we've got Michael Emanuel from Tri-City Builders here. We're gonna be looking at a garden suite unit. This one is beautiful. You wanna make sure you watch right to the very end to see all the nuggets that you're gonna need if you ever wanna do this, and intensification is so important. Now, before we get to the back, I guess this whole driveway was just dug up and torn up. When people are actually turning a regular home, this was a single family home, was turned into a duplex by an investor. And then the next investor went and wanted to make the plans with Michael to go build this tiny home in the back. So to do that, we got to trench utilities, you got to have extra parking here. So tell us a little bit about how opened up this driveway was, because I'm having a hard time picturing it.
For sure, yeah. So we had to excavate the entire front yard in order to get access to the city shutoff. From there, we branched out the water lines, one going into the main home and another one going directly into the garden suite, so it could be separately metered. So we had to do that in 2 phases just because of the depth of the excavation, where we excavated the entire front yard first, did all of our connections there, had it inspected, backfilled. Then we moved on to trenching to the backyard.
Yes.
And you could see all this driveway.
Yeah, how wide was it? You guys went
8 foot, probably about 8 foot wide. Well, the driveway itself is 9 foot wide, and it was basically the entire width of it.
And then how far down?
8 to 9 feet deep.
Wow.
So there's a lot of soil that had to be displaced on site. So that's why we had to do it in 2 phases. So we were able to put some soil in the front yard, and a lot of it actually had to be brought into the backyard.
Yeah, and then as we walk back here, I guess there were still tenants living here, right?
Still tenants living
You guys had to bridge across.
This was entirely excavated, and we had a catwalk going from the door sill to the neighbor's property so that they would be able to get in and out of their units safely.
We're right by the hydro here, so tell us a little bit about the hydro. So obviously this was from the original house, this is from the duplex, this is from what you guys are gonna be doing. Hydro's coming in pretty soon, a couple
Start of
weeks.
January.
And right now we're in Kitchener, Ontario. I forgot to mention that. So Kitchener, Ontario is a city that's pretty friendly for these things, but most cities and municipalities, like Bill 23 just came out not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. So even most cities and municipalities are still trying to figure out the playbook when it comes to these different things. So it's important to work with professionals like Michael here, because you don't want to be the guinea pig when we were building these kinds of things, because there's big dollars to play here. We'll cover some of the numbers at the end of the video. Let's go check out this courtyard and the design and some of the materials you guys are using.
Awesome.
Just first looking at this, like this is a very substantial building. This is not like what I see. Usually I see people that have turned a garage, like a smaller garage that doesn't have quite the roof height, into one of these ADUs or garden suites. I mean, this really does look like more like a real legit home. You got the height built on slab. I really like the materials that you guys are using, specifically some of this hardy board here. Now, this doesn't look like very much hardy board here. Did you guys run out, or like what's going on here, Michael?
So the hardy board is specific to the walls that require non-combustible wall assemblies.
Right.
Yeah, so because of the proximity to the main house, the main duplex, the wall that runs along it needs to be fire rated.
Yes.
And also we have a wall on the back side that's too close in proximity to the property line, and that wall also has to be of non-combustible construction. So the hardy board is specific to those 2 walls, and then the rest of the exterior walls will receive vinyl siding, which is a more cost-effective option.
Super, super important, because you don't look that far away from the home. Like how many feet roughly are you away?
12'6" exactly.
12'6" away from the home.
Yep.
And you got to be very mindful of any renovations. There's going to be stipulations that you have to comply to. What about lot coverage? Like, was there a maximum, or that actually is a percentage of the actual home, right?
It's based on a percentage of the actual home. So once you meet the minimum lot width requirement, which here in Kitchener is 43 feet, and the overall dimension of the lot needs to be 395 square meters, which is roughly 4,300 square feet, translates to.
Okay.
The garden suite itself can either be 50% of the gross floor area of the main house, up to a maximum of 80 square meters, which is approximately 850 square feet.
Awesome.
So this main house is roughly 1,000 square feet. So that's why the garden suite kind of translates to the size that it is.
There you go. Now, one thing that's really unique here, Michael, is like, I've seen a lot of these, they're just like rectangles or squares, but this one's like an L shape. So can you explain to the viewers at home, like why the design and why you did it? Was it for sunlight? Was it for coverage? Was it for fitting on the certain footprint?
There's a combination of all the above, including for privacy, so to create true separation from the main house. The reason that we laid it out as an L is because this lot isn't a true rectangle. It's shaped more like a parallelogram. So right. All of the property lines are slightly off axis. So if we were to put a rectangular or square shaped structure, we really would lose a lot of the lot space.
You would, yes.
And it would just be redundant. So we really wanted to capitalize on creating a true separation between the main house, the lot size, and then taking advantage also of the orientation and the sunlight. So I'm standing to the south, I believe it is, and the sun is coming from my left shoulder to my right shoulder, So the way that this is oriented, it captures all of that morning light.
It is very important, and with some of the technology out there, like you can actually predict like what your shade is going to be like, how much sun, and all these different things. It's so important that you make sure that you're using a great planner here. Now I noticed there's no windows on this side of the house. Was that intentional? Was that part of the plan?
Yeah, again, it's to make that true separation. So eventually what we'll be doing is adding a fence to block this courtyard.
Gotcha.
And that way it'll have no visual view of where the parking is, because where we're standing right now is where the parking for the garden suite will be, as well as for the basement tenants.
Awesome. All right, finally, let's head inside, guys. All right, so we're inside this ADU right now, and I gotta tell you, Michael, this is like really high ceilings. This, again, it feels like a legitimate home. This is somewhere that I would live if I didn't have 4 kids, but with the layout here, we have the kitchen behind us, I guess, right? So you guys are gonna have a galley kitchen or just a straight kitchen. But if we go this way, so you guys have this set up as like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. So they're almost like en-suites, right? Like
Correct.
You guys are gonna have a barn door here, from my understanding, right?
That's right.
We have a closet, which you're almost standing in. Got this, man, I love these tubs. These soaker tubs are, I can't imagine what the females are gonna think about it. Drop a comment down below if you're a female, you're watching this, if you love soaker tubs. But good sized bedroom, and because you don't have the closet in the bedroom, you can literally just max everything out with your end tables, your bed, and then you have another door. So why the door here?
Yeah. So that door is required for fire access. So there's a 3'9" walkway that goes down the side of the house, and they require that per the zoning bylaw for fire access. You can't overlap that walkway with an asphalt driveway. So that's why we added this secondary door, and it's a full light, so that way it allows maximum light in place of a window into the bedroom. It also swings out rather than in, so it doesn't take up any floor space.
Yes.
And then you have all 4 walls usable for furniture.
So let's keep moving on here. Lots of light switches here. This must be where you guys are doing the in-suite laundry, because that's one of the requirements, right? They have to have their own laundry.
Correct. Every separate independent dwelling unit needs to have its own laundry.
All right, so now in this part of the ADU, I'm just gonna start calling this a tiny home because it's a legit home. But this feels a little bit bigger than the other one. Plus, you got some built-in closets. So this must be the master bedroom, right, Michael?
This is the master. We got a nice 3-panel casement window.
Yeah, looking out on that courtyard. People love that.
So this will get all that morning sunlight. And then behind me, the 2 closets here. One is for all of our utilities. So it's completely up to the latest building code requirements. So we'll have a gas-powered furnace, an HRV, so a heat recovery ventilator,
Wow,
and a
so
tankless hot water here.
Full-size
furnace.
So kind of like what you'd see in a hotel room, I guess, right? One of these smaller ones. And then another ensuite bathroom, which is gonna be fantastic. I think they're both the same layout.
They are identical in layout, yeah. And we have a nice deep closet over here, it's 3 feet deep, so it's kind of a walk-in, I guess you could say.
That is very deep. That reminds me, you guys had a really interesting permit you had to pull because you're very close to the highway. So tell the listeners a little bit about that. So just another thing you need to know and why you need to be working with a professional is because there's gonna be things that come out of left field that you don't know about.
Yeah, so this was a first for me. I'm sure a lot of people have already heard about the Conservation Authority, as well as Heritage Committee, and requiring separate permits and approvals through them. In this case, because of the proximity to Highway 7 here in Kitchener, there's something called the Highway Transit Corridor Management, which has jurisdiction along the highways. I guess that's for any future expansion or on-ramps or off-ramps that they need to do. So they have to have the final stamp of approval. And that is another permit that we came to find out that we needed once we went in for the building permit. So that obviously added to the overall time in the design process.
Because how close are you guys? Maybe a couple hundred meters, but it was still, you were within
Yeah,
that, within that
150
area?
meters, yeah, just, it was just the back corner of the property over here that fell into it. But because the property did come into contact with it, we had to jump through that hoop.
And for listeners that want to know a little bit more about you here, Michael, I apologize I didn't really give you a chance to explain a little bit more about yourself. You've done millions of dollars worth of these renovations, so maybe just let people know, like, tell the camera, tell the audience here a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm an architectural technologist, so I have my own BCIN number. I'm also a construction manager. I own my own company here called Tri-City Builders in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area. That's where we service primarily. We service exclusively investors. Just being a real estate investor myself, I understand what the needs of investors are. We're a full service type of suite product where we'll focus on the design. We'll try to optimize design for cost efficiency as well. And then that translates directly into the build process.
Yeah.
And so we're a full service.
Love it. All right, Michael, so that's been an awesome tour, but people want to know the numbers. And like, these things obviously aren't cheap, and hiring someone out to GC it obviously isn't cheap either. But what can people expect these days in 2023, 2024 The cost of construction has come down to reality and back to earth again. You know, what did people spend in here? What was the budget? What can people expect?
Yeah, so we've budgeted 5 of these at this point based on the actual costs of this build right now. We're ranging in price between $350 to $450 per square foot for the build itself. And you need to tack on another about $50 per square foot for the actual site work that happens around it. So the driveway extension, the walkway, all the grading that's required, and things like that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work here, right? So this one's almost 700 square feet. So they were like up in the $300,000
close to
$1,000 price point. Okay. So, and are there things as a builder that you can do to try to save people money? I guess it'd just be like not going too nuts with the finishes and being cost effective with what you do.
Definitely. So what I'm advising our clients to do is not to oversize it.
Okay.
So base it off of
my mind is just thinking from a guy's perspective, let's just try to make this as big as possible.
Bigger is better. But in some cases, if you can fit 2 bedrooms into a 600 square foot unit versus a 700 square foot unit, that 100 square foot, you know, you equate that with
save 30, 40,000.
Exactly,
least,
right? And just because it's a little bit bigger doesn't mean that you're going to demand that much more rent if you still have the same amenities.
Yes. All right, gang, as we wrap up here, I just want to leave everybody with like the top 3 tips. If you're considering doing this, let's summarize everything here in the video. You're just such a wealth of knowledge here, Michael. If you were to give people like just 3 quick tips, considering when they're going to be doing this here, from even just feasibility to getting to the finish line, what would you say to people?
Everything comes back to the numbers. You want to make sure that you factor in, based on those rough numbers, how much is it going to cost to build, how much can you get for rent, and see if the numbers work out. More often than not, I think it's going to be more cost effective to build one of these than it will be to go and purchase a new property that you also have to renovate and add value to.
There you go.
But really, it just comes back down to the numbers.
All right, so the numbers have to work, and then you have to make sure you even like check the boxes to be able to do these things.
Yeah, so make sure the numbers work. Next step to that would be going into the planning department or hiring a designer like myself to do a feasibility study to see, number 1, if the lot itself qualifies for being able to build a garden suite, or there could be alternative options other than a garden suite. Maybe an addition might work too, but definitely you want to make sure that you pass all of those zoning bylaw checkboxes.
Maybe the last point is, are you gonna do it yourself, which could be a lot of work, or are you gonna hire someone like you that can take it on for them, right? And that's gonna be part of the budget too. But I think that, you know, it's the who, not how. You really should be looking at doing these things through other people that know what they're doing, because literally your best time as a real estate investor should be out there finding the next deal, raising more money for the next deal, the next JV partner, whatever it might be. So
there's definitely a lot of things that you don't see as part of these builds that the owners never hear, from all kinds of problems that we need to solve, just like the trenching from the front to the backyard or what have you.
So big question here, Michael. Tell us about the rents. What do you think the owner is going to be able to get for rents if it's a regular rental, and then if it's maybe short term?
Yeah, so I think because it's its own isolated suite, basically it's comparable to being on the main floor of a house, that it could generate $2,500 or more per month.
Nice.
Which in Kitchener is actually a bit undervalued.
Yes.
So that's a conservative number. If you're going the Airbnb route, obviously the cost per night, peak season, we're close to Chicopee Park here, so that can demand more in the wintertime as well.
For people that don't know what Chicopee is, it's a little bump of a hill. You can kind of ski down it. I think I saw a little bit of snow there as I was driving in. It's gonna be great out here. There's gonna be literally fenced off. This is literally gonna be its own separate tiny home. So that's fantastic.
So it's definitely be able to command a lot more dollars going there short-term rental route than the long-term rental route. But you have to see if that kind of fits in within your strategy.
Exactly. All right, gang, there you have it. If you like this video, drop a comment down below. Please smash the subscribe button. We're always looking for more subscribers. Hit that like button. Let us know what you thought about the video. Are you actually interested in building one of these? Do you have enough frontage? Do you have enough depth? Have you ever thought about this sort of thing? What city do you live in? We'd love to hear from you. We love engagement. It helps to trigger the algorithm. Can't wait until next time here, gang. We're firing up the long form content again, so you can look forward to a lot more videos like this. But Michael, how can people find you? What's the best way to find you online?
They can find me on Instagram at WeBuildADUs, ADUS. They can also go to our website to find out more about what we're doing here for investors at WeBuildADUs.ca. And finally, have a special bonus for all of your viewers. So if you go to realestaterehabbers.com/garden suites, you can enter your email in, and what I have prepared for everyone is a scope of work, a budget, and a sequence of construction activities, as well as a slide deck for a recent presentation that we did with your group. And that will really give them a leg up when it comes to putting all the documents together that they need to provide a contractor in order to build a garden suite of their own.
Ooh, so generous of you there, Michael. Thanks so much for the tour today.
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to see it when it's all finished. Maybe if this takes a little while, we'll drop in some B-roll footage, or we'll just come back out again. Maybe I'll rent this thing on Airbnb and we'll actually see what it's all about.
Happy to have you.
Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button. Can't wait to see you on the next video. Have a great day.